Somewhere in the Pacific, a boat is approaching land, and for 1 week, this land belongs to no one else on Earth. Places like Necker Island, Richard Branson's estate in the British Virgin Islands, can be booked out entirely, the whole island, for a single group, 6 figures for a week, no other guests, nothing but staff and silence. It's the closest most people will ever get to owning paradise. Some people rent paradise, some people buy it. And at the highest level, some people try to build their own world. This is the 7 levels of private island ownership. Level 1. The starter island. You own the land. Undeveloped private islands, no house, no dock, no power grid, can enter the market for a few $100,000, sometimes closer to $1 million, depending on location, size, and how much legal red tape comes attached. But there's a catch most buyers don't expect. You're not purchasing a resort. You're purchasing raw land surrounded by water and electricity, fresh water, transportation. Even basic construction access can turn into costs far larger than the island itself. This is the first real threshold, the point where someone stops renting the experience and actually owns a piece of the map. Level 2. The private retreat. You build a home. At this level, raw land becomes an actual residence, a private dock or airstrip, staff accommodation, independent power and water systems, and security built for total isolation. Because there's no municipal grid out here, owners typically install their own diesel generators or solar microgrids, along with a desalination plant just to turn seawater into something drinkable. Infrastructure most homeowners never think about, because most homeowners aren't building their own utility company from scratch. This is no longer about owning land. It's about building a private world from nothing. 1 generator, 1 water system, 1 delivery at a time. The reward is total privacy. No neighbors, no paparazzi, no way in except by invitation. Level 3. The ultra-luxury estate. You build an entire private estate. Beyond a single home, this tier means multiple buildings, guest villas, private beaches, pools, entertainment facilities, and a full staff operation running behind the scenes, sometimes with helicopter or private aviation access built directly into the property. The island isn't just a home anymore. It's a fully functioning luxury estate, closer to a resort than a residence, except every guest is invited, and every room belongs to one family. Level 4. The island business. You turn the island into a business. Necker Island itself operates this way. Part private residence, part ultra-luxury rental empire. And illusionist David Copperfield's Musha Cay in the Bahamas follows a similar model. An entire private island chain rented to guests for tens of thousands of dollars a night. The island stops being something you simply pay to maintain. It becomes an asset capable of generating serious revenue, luxury accommodation, exclusive bookings, private events, a full hospitality operation. Nothing about that is automatic. An empty island still burns money every single day. But for the first time, it has a real shot at paying its own way. But renting it out, running it as a business, buying it outright, that's all still playing by nature's rules, using land the ocean already put there. What happens when someone doesn't just rent or build on an island, but engineers the land itself? Level 5. The engineered island. You help create the island itself. Dubai's Palm Jumeirah and the World Islands are the clearest example. Entire archipelagos dredged out of the seabed and shaped into palm fronds and continents, then sold off plot by plot to the ultra-wealthy. Palm Jumeirah alone took roughly 94 million cubic meters of sand and 7 million tons of rock to build, part of a project reported to run into the billions of dollars. and it added dozens of kilometers of new coastline to a city that simply didn't have enough. This isn't one person buying a naturally occurring private island. It's a different game entirely, a world of engineered land and massive coastal development, where buying in means owning a piece of something manufactured to order. At this level, you aren't just buying an island, you're participating in the creation of one. Level 6. The company island. You acquire an enormous share of an inhabited island. In 2012, Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison acquired approximately 98% of Lanai, Hawaii's sixth largest island, for roughly $300 million, a deal that came with the island's 2 resorts, its main grocery store, its only gas station, and its local newspaper. The remaining 2% still belongs to the state and a small number of private homeowners, and Lanai itself remains part of Hawaii, governed under U.S. and Hawaiian law, not privately owned as its own territory. But roughly 3,000 people live there, and at this level, private ownership becomes so concentrated that one person can become the island's dominant landowner, its largest employer, and one of the most powerful economic forces in thousands of people's daily lives. This is the tier where owning land starts brushing up against something much bigger than real estate. Level 7. The sovereign dream. You start asking whether land ownership can ever become something resembling sovereignty. Seasteading projects and self-declared micronations have spent decades trying to push island ownership past property law, flags, currencies, even offers of citizenship. But owning land does not create sovereignty. Private islands remain subject to the laws of the country they sit in, and self-declared micronations are almost never recognized as actual states. So the fantasy doesn't end with someone simply buying a country. It ends with a bigger question, one that has nothing to do with sand or water. What if owning the land was never the real goal? What if the real fantasy was controlling the rules? Most people will only ever visit an island. A few can own one. A smaller group can turn one into a business. And at the extreme end, the dream stops being about property altogether and becomes something much bigger: control over a place, control over an economy, and eventually, the desire to control the rules themselves. If this was useful, subscribe.